If you know and like hardcore mode in Minecraft, you've definitely heard of the legendary player Philza. Besides being on YouTube for more than 16 years since 2006, he's responsible for one of the most epic journeys in the game's history. It begins in episode 0, released on February 7, 2012. Philza decides to take the main step and create his first Minecraft hardcore series. The saga's start was tough as the player was still learning the game while recording episodes. On his first nights he fought zombies, skeletons and spiders, surviving the hardships. However, this lasted only a few hours as Philza died exploring without proper equipment and lost his first save. However, this didn't discourage our warrior, who quickly made a new hardcore world and resumed gathering materials. This time, he quickly crafted some wooden tools and soon after upgraded to stone dam, aiming to better protect himself from the monsters surrounding him. He collected food and built a shelter to protect himself from dangers. And in doing so, he ended up finding a cave and decided to explore it, aiming to look for more material resources. At first, he was afraid of what he might find, however, he drew his sword and decided to face the dangers that were there. He quickly got rid of all the mobs, gathered some ores, and set up a small camp in that area, aiming to settle there. We've reached the end of the first episode in what would become Minecraft's greatest hardcore journey. Later, our warrior collected and crafted everything he needed, and finally, he felt confident enough to leave and face the world that awaited him outside. Philza went to the surface and began exploring. He crossed snow, oceans, islands, deserts, and forests with the goal of finding a good place to stay. After 9 days of searching, he finally found his habitat, which would be at the foot of a great mountain. He started by digging, leveling the area, and building the first structure of his new home base. And in a nearby cave, he found a zombie spawner, an abandoned mine, and his first diamonds. And after a while, Philza decided to go to the Nether for the first time in his journey, taking every precaution possible to avoid any unpleasant surprises, since he knew that one wrong step could end everything. He crossed lava seas, braved dangers, faced ghasts, and finally discovered the long-awaited Nether fortress. He explored the place, fought wither skeletons, blazes, and other monsters, and left only after getting what he needed. Everything in the series was going great. Our warrior reached episode 30, a big improvement since the first saga didn't pass episode 1. However, Philza knew that sooner or later he would have to face the greatest challenge of his journey so far, the end. At this stage, our warrior had found the stronghold, but needed to prepare thoroughly before entering, as failure would mean losing all progress. For that, he decided to build a base in a villager's village and start his preparation for the big battle. After gathering resources, crafting tools and armor, and brewing potions, our hero entered the forest, created a wolf army, and equipped the best enchantments. He also went back to his old mountain base for supplies and to say goodbye in case he didn't return. He traveled the world, returned to the stronghold, and prepared for the great battle with the dragon. By episode 70, just a month into the journey, Philza connected the final pearl to the portal and entered the new dimension. He spawned on an underground platform surrounded by end stones. After a quick excavation, Philza climbed to the surface. He was initially nervous and somewhat scared of the dragon, but still destroyed the crystals on the towers. After arrows, sword strikes, explosions, and a long fight, the battle with the boss was finally ending. The dragon flew over Fuse before finally heading toward our warrior. That's when it took the final hit that would decide its ultimate fate, death. Fuse came out victorious from this battle with high self-esteem and the morale of a great warrior. After the war, our hero enters the portal to return home, but immediately realizes he's far from home. Since he'd already defeated the final boss, he chose to build a mini base and end the series, despite this being the last episode. In the months after the journey, Philza kept making Minecraft content. He even created a modded series called Moditacular. In addition, he posted a series of other videos of various games. Finally, after 6 months away from his world and after intense requests for his return, Philza went back to the save. On this return, after finding his house, he started building a mob farm, using some skeleton pawns that were outside his base. Later in a few episodes, he searched for rare ores and expanded his base, adding carrot, villager, and sugarcane farms. And afterwards, he decided to increase his presence in the Nether, expanding his Nether hub and creating another portal that took him to an underwater base. Everything was going well. Philza seemed unbeatable, and people enjoyed his series' return. However, something unusual happened to him.
Alright guys, Philza here. I recently experienced a power outage in my area. One thing, my PC. It starts up okay to the point where it needs to boot from a hard drive, and it looks like my main operating system hard drive is just gone. It's doing the click of death error where it just won't be able to read anything. What's really annoying is that my Minecraft Hardcore mode save world is on that hard drive.
That's right, my dear friends. A power outage in Philza's neighborhood caused his computer's hard drive to burn out, and as a result he lost everything that was on it, including his hardcore map. It took some time, there were headaches, and Philza had to spend money he didn't have. However, after some sacrifice, he managed to replace the old hard drive with a new one. Besides that, losing his world was a trigger for our warrior to start varying the gameplay on his channel and shift the focus away from the hardcore map. Because of that, he began posting videos of other games like GTA 5 and Halo. Yet a sense of incompleteness lingered, fans clamored, and the YouTuber was intrigued. And the world needed it, the return of the Minecraft hardcore saga. So Philza decided to create a new world, but this time this act would change his life and his entire story forever. Our brave warrior began his journey in a savanna surrounded by forests, mountains, and grass. This made Philza think that the series wouldn't last very long due to the terrible location he found himself in. With his warrior spirit, the YouTuber decided to explore the area first, said and done. Right next to the island, there was an entire continent waiting to be explored, which had gone unnoticed. Philza, who by this point was already an extremely experienced player, was able to find his first ores, including gold and diamond. After some time progressing, our warrior already had an enchantment table, a nether portal, and a stash of rare items that were looted from a village of villagers. After all that, the YouTuber decided to visit the Nether for the first time this season with the goal of gathering resources, exploring, and getting to know the new location that awaited him. He arrived and couldn't believe what had happened. His spawn was exactly inside a Nether fortress, and that's something extremely rare. Philza quickly obtained 2 wither skeleton skulls, which is also quite rare since you need to kill 100 of these mobs to get that many skulls. In other words, a 2% chance. The following episodes kept improving because Philza found a zombie spawner near a villager village. He found another temple deep in the forest and built a desert base for future experiments. Despite the luck, our warrior wanted to make the series more challenging. That's when he chose to face the dragon again, much sooner than in his first series where he waited until episode 70. He armed himself, mounted his horse, and sought resources to prepare for the big battle. That way he would find along the way some desert temples, jungle temples, and various ores. Among them, our warrior found dozens of diamonds mined with fortune pickaxes, using them to craft armor for defeating the dragon. The hardest mode in Minecraft became easy for Philza, who mastered the game and was on a lucky streak. However, before claiming victory, he still had to fight the Ender Dragon. Philza went out to the open sea, got into his wooden boat, threw his pearls into the air, and searched tirelessly for the stronghold. After a long search, he spots a unique underwater structure and realizes what he sought was there. He dove into the sea, entered the place, fought the mobs, linked his pearls to the portal, and instantly traveled to another dimension. Philza dug with his spade underground, quickly excavating until he reached the surface and faced his enemy. Our warrior shattered all tower crystals, battled the dragon, and after great effort defeated the game's toughest mob for the second time. Episodes later, the plan after killing the dragon was to start an extremely bold construction, the zombie base. In it, Philza was responsible for creating a giant baby zombie statue, a trading structure with villagers, and a huge farm that served as the base for his daily food. After a period of focusing on this project, it was successfully completed. Then Philza turned his attention to the beloved Nether. There, our warrior had to make it safer. He removed badge works and reached the top using a tree glitch with Bonnie Mew. He also linked the zombie base to the Nether and nerfed the whole fortress. Now that this was finished, he went looking for another structure out at sea, this time an ocean monument. After a long time searching and finally finding it, he used a water breathing potion to dive down and enter the place. That way, he had to fight against 3 guardian boys, and after more than an hour inside, finally made the place safe. Now the ambitious plan was to turn this place into a grand base. It's essential to remove all water and use sand to dry and separate the monument. After weeks on end with many blocks of sand and excavations, the place was finally left without a drop of water. The plan was to replace the sandy soil with grass and level the ground for a more natural look. Our warrior worked for hours, but this still fell short of what Philza aimed for in the series, and so it took more than 5 months for everything to be completed. The project had glass walls instead of sand and grass covering the whole floor, and a guardian farm that was located underground in the area. Well, we can say that this challenge was somewhat easy compared to the complicated news that Philza had received while he was finishing his project. His friend Matthew Adams, just 22, had passed away. With this sad news, our warrior chose to take a long break from the series, recordings, and posts. After a long time, Philza became active again, but now with the sole purpose of turning his epic build into a tribute to his friend Matthew. For that, he worked hard at the place. We ended up with one of Minecraft's most beautiful structures, and the result is beyond words. Philza's biggest project ever was finally finished. After months of work without a single death, the community finally saw it wasn't just a game. The next project would be the incredible Sky City. For that, he had to use the ocean monument again. He built a large sand cube for a special effect around the building. After weeks of gathering sand, everything was ready. Only dropping the structure onto the monument remained. Now that phase 1 was complete, Philza began phase 2, replacing all the sand with quartz to make the monument unique. However, the job wouldn't be easy and would take weeks to finish. The next step was the sky part of Sky City. Philza built a large platform as a safety net in case he fell. He then created a large floating island like those in mods, right above the old Guardian monuments. Our warrior built a huge castle, quartz buildings, decorations, and the plains-like environment inside. Only a few days and details remained before the project was finished. Philza finished the interior and removed the flat structure beneath the island, finally completing the long-awaited Sky City. Philza survived without dying until day 3319 in his world. This means he's played 550 to 1000 hours in real life. The second series has finally officially surpassed the first one in terms of duration, now lasting for more than 2 years. Even so, our warrior kept going as always, trying to complete challenges and do things that had never been done before. So let's give a summary of what he did from this point on. Philza completely transformed the End Island, building an Enderman mob trap there, and besides that, he started his most ambitious project called the Chaos Cave. The main idea was to create a place that had every single mob type existing in the game, all trapped in underground cages. This wouldn't be easy, but if it weren't difficult, we wouldn't be talking about Philza. That's when he decided to get to work, and for weeks exploring, blowing things up and collecting, all that time turned into months, and those months into years, until after a long period, the project was finally finished. The series had been running for 4 years, and Philza had been a content creator for 11, yet his channel had just 2,000 subscribers. An incredible Minecraft legend was hidden in the depths of the internet. However, his fate was about to change soon and forever. For now, what I can tell you is that sometimes bad things happen for a good reason. It was just another ordinary day. A hardcore world where Philza mined in one of his caves. What he wanted there was to place his beacon to make mining easier. And because of a structure he had built on the surface of the map, mob spawning was nerfed, causing way more mobs than usual to spawn underground. When he went down to mine, he was ambushed by spiders, creepers, and an annoying baby zombie, which quickly killed him and changed Philza's life forever. One thing that made it much worse was that he was wearing an elytra instead of a chest plate, which made him take a lot more damage. It was over. The hardcore map, which lasted nearly 5 years, was lost in under 30 seconds. Our warrior was devastated, as this world meant far more to him than just being a simple place. This save was a form of expression, his art, his passion, something he could be proud of. But everything faded and evil won for now. That's because, as I had said, there are evils that come for the good. This unprecedented event greatly affected the Minecraft community, blogs, websites, and gaming news outlets. People started to comment and share all of Philza's drama, making him more and more well known. After 14 years on YouTube, Philza's channel finally went viral worldwide. His subscriber count kept growing and his channel views just kept increasing.
It has spread.
All this recognition from the community brought fame to our warrior, and with that, he had the opportunity to grow his channel. He collaborated with well-known YouTubers and joined popular series like Dream Survival Multiplayer Minecraft Championship, Minecraft Monday, and Survival Multiplayer Earth. This made his relevance grow even more, and in this way, Philza became one of the biggest Minecraft players in the world. Now, much later, I'm motivated by a bigger audience, streaming for hundreds instead of just 10. He decided to prepare himself to, after years, return to Minecraft's hardcore mode for the third time. After years away from the hardcore journey, the legend was back. Keep in mind the game changed significantly since Philza's last hardcore saga. With version 1.14 as the latest update, the aquatic update had greatly transformed the oceans. They became valuable due to the treasures, lessening the need for excessive mining. Aware of this mechanic, our warrior fully explored underwater chests and abandoned mineshafts, and that allowed him to obtain valuable resources in a shorter period of time. In addition, to give a brief summary, he managed to go to the Nether, find a skeleton farm, find a stronghold, go to the end, and defeat the Ender Dragon. However, something highly unusual happened to our warrior. After defeating the final boss, Philza decided to explore the end portals in order to go to other dimensions and reach the end cities to obtain the elytras. On this journey, a glitch caused him to fall from a great height into the void, instantly dying and leaving a sense of failure.
Glitched out of the world, dude. Come on.
Philza returned to the save to test survival methods for the fall and understand its cause. He eventually concluded it was a rendering error in the game, and it could have been avoided if he had changed the render distance in the game settings. But anyway, everything was already over and lost. The duration of this world was only a week and a half. At the moment he died because of the portal glitch, Philza was doing a 24-hour livestream, which turned out to be a complete failure. However, Philza, who never backs down from a challenge, couldn't let things end so badly. With support from the chat, our warrior got excited again and created a new hardcore map a few hours later. The start of this 4th season was magnificent. The initial plan was the same as in the 3rd season, which basically consisted of shining and looting ships, treasures, desert temples, and villages to find items more easily. Said and done this way, our warrior found his first ores, which made his project progress relatively faster. A short time later, Philza went to the Nether, found his first fortress, and defeated the first mobs of this 4th season. Later, he went after the stronghold to reach the end and face the dragon. I don't even need to mention this was easy for the legend Philza, right? Our warrior wanted to return to the end city for an elytra, but first had to enter a dreaded portal to another dimension. Remember, it was a bug that caused his death last time. However, now he was prepared, carrying an ender pearl with him in case he got teleported to the limbo again. None of that was needed since he was moved to a safe place. He explored the end city and took its items, including the coveted Elytra. After the epic 24-hour livestream, Philza pushed further and improved his resources and items. For that, he had to build an Enderman farm, loot and raid woodland mansions, village settlements, and the remaining end cities. That way, our warrior made quick and effective progress when it came to items and resources. That gave him the chance to announce his most ambitious project yet, Lantis. Lantis is a gigantic structure located in the end, which will be completely submerged in water. And it will have a huge Enderman farm in the center and different biome variations on the edges of the continent. Philza knew that this project would take months to complete, but that wasn't a problem for him. Soon after, he told his audience he was officially quitting his job to focus entirely on the series and his channel. In other words, he would have enough free time to focus on his projects. At this point, it had already been years since his last hardcore world, or rather, the second season. Philza got engaged to Kristen, his future wife, whom he met during a Minecraft stream. Our warrior was living a dream and with more free time could now focus on finishing his biggest project yet, Lantis. And after 4 months of hundreds of flying machines trying to throw toluene bombings covering the entire island with water, designing, building, mining, item placement, and a lot of determination, this magnificent work never seen before was finally completed in great style. This only made Philza more eager to start his next project. In it, our warrior had to mine the entire floor and ceiling of the nether, leaving only the bedrocks. He also had to build a huge square made of concrete and glass, and inside it a massive fortress made of quartz located right in the center of the place. In addition, he included a gigantic glass structure that worked as a wither skeleton farm, and he also built some flying warships made of wood which were heading toward a gigantic nether portal. With these final small details, Philza's Minecraft hardcore journey ended, at least on YouTube. He kept playing on Twitch and even made some remakes of his old builds from previous seasons. But however, in an official way, the series really ended with the end of Lantis. Over 14 years on YouTube, Philza built a community that genuinely appreciates him as both a player and a person. That same community helped his dreams come true and changed the course of his life forever. And Philza, well, continues to inspire thousands of people as living proof that if we try to reach our goals, pushing ourselves to the limit, we can achieve unimaginable things.